kept out of the public eye. And now, Anna Nicole's little girl and her dad sit down with Robin Roberts.
What do you see of her being a little girl?
Only on Good Morning America, Monday on ABC.
Could hundreds of new jobs be coming to the mountains tonight at 11? What we're learning about a national company's plans to expand. Plus, illegal immigrants living in fear of deportation call it a victory. The changes in President Obama's immigration policies that are allowing them to stay.
Your Father's Day forecast, I think you'll like it. And then we are turning up the heat for the week ahead.
Don't miss the Belk Father's Day sale. Visit belk.com for coupons and save on 2-day doorbusters. Shop Friday till 10, Saturday 8 to 10. The first 100 customers Saturday receive a free gift card. Only at the Belk Father's Day sale.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's my fault. I should have watched where I was going.
You know, it's customary after an accident to exchange phone numbers.
There's more to the story. Visit avtech.edu and apply today. All classes start August 20th.
In 7 Event Solutions Wedding Venue Giveaway. Enter at WLOS.com.
Drone pilots.
To this, the time has
Drone
arrived.
pilots.
Nick Belinda set to walk
In Arizona, Nevada.
taking the elevator platform up. He's ready to climb top that wire and make the 1,500-foot trek to Canada. One of his signal coordinators, Chris, ready to actually hold the wire steady and nod perhaps to the simple things in a sea of high-tech gadgetry waving to the crowd gathered in the United States on his way to his neighbor to the north, while inside our production truck, Nick's father, Terry, will have the only connection directly into Nick's ear throughout the walk, listening and really watching him as he acts as his de facto coach and spotter. And the crossing that at long last is now upon us. Nick Belinda, a seventh-generation daredevil, walking with his family's legacy. History awaits. Nick Belinda, The Wire, and Niagara are yours.
As you see him gingerly test his steps and assess the tension on that wire, the movement of the wire. He's told us in his experience that the hardest part of the walk is often that very first step. You have to get it right, Johnson. Once you're actually on the wire and you're committed, you're focused, but that first step, that's the point of no return.
Certainly is. Certainly for a man as proud as Nick Belinda.
See him dragging that safety harness behind, and that is something that he has never walked with, and has been doing this, walking on a wire, since age 2.
That helicopter shot. High above the falls. What a stunning sight that is.
Saad's father Terry in our production trailer, who Nick tells us doesn't really get nervous about his son walking the wire. The other crazy stunts that he's pulled off make him much more nervous, meaning
Boy.
his teeth in the way.
You mentioned Terry again, his regular safety coordinator, and his father, the direct Right now, listen in. As father and son.
Yeah.
That's working fine.
No, don't use that.
Looking good. Just remember to change your rhythm of your step just a little. Everything's looking good.
Thank you, Lord God. Josh, Hannah, as Nick approaches the lip or the brink of the fall, you're told 1,000 times to not look down. Don't look down when you're in a high place. But that's not Nick Melinda. He always looks down to see exactly where he is, and this is the first terrifying visual obstacle of this walk, the lip or the brink. We've shown this to you from our vantage point under the fall. It is that 700,000
high wire
per minute over the edge. The rapids right leading up to the edge
he's
are
walking
about 25 miles an hour. When they get to the edge, they've been clocked at 65 miles an hour in a straight down plunge to the deepest part of the Niagara River. It is about 140 feet. Anything that comes off that wire in the next few seconds, it is a turbulent pitch straight down the edge of the fall. We are in, again, thank you, Sam, the beginning of the walk. This is the first zone, the descent, as he makes his way down 6 degrees on his way to 35 feet below where he began. This, he's repeatedly said, is the most difficult part of the walk. Walking downhill with the weight, and again, with a tether on the back, something he's never worn before. This, as he makes his way to the wet zone over that lip.
Tough to see the movement on the wire from our vantage point, and we heard his father telling him to change the rhythm of his steps. That's because if he maintains the same rhythm of his steps, that wire, that movement of that wire will become more and more pronounced. So that's the one thing that's under his control that he can do is change his rhythm and hope to keep that wire much more steady.
Take your time. High rhythm. That's your fun. You're halfway to the next pendulum. You're doing fine. How's your harness feel?
Feels fine.
Good. What about, do we have some insects bothering you or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. Nothing yet. Nothing yet.
You can't go to sleep.
Yeah, well, you get past a couple of the pendulums.
across Niagara Falls.
Dealing with that.
As you mentioned, Hannah and his father, they've been 36 years a wire walker himself. Very unique to the family. And as you mentioned, his father, the worrywart of the family. Time and again, told Nick Melinda to give up this dream specifically, a dream more than 2 years in the making. That's how long it took Nick to ask the governments of both the United States and Canada to allow this. This had been illegal since the 1890s. And time and again, his father Terry said, Nick, it'll never happen, to Nick's perhaps eternal credit.
Well, we talked to Terry about the fact that he was a wire walker for over 3 decades, but essentially he came up as a rigger. He went to circus school. He married into the Melinda family. This is really in Nick's blood, and it's something that Terry comes into and has married into. And luckily for Nick, his father is a specific wire just for this event tonight.
Nick has allowed us opportunities to speak with him, however briefly it is. He arrives to that lift and stares 20 stories down into that maelstrom. Let's see if we can visit with him very briefly. Terry, Josh Elliott, Hannah Storm, can we talk to Nick right now?
Yeah, I think Nick's ready to answer a couple of questions.
All right, Nick, it's Josh, and as you move over that lift, arguably the single most dramatic sight of all, what can you see?
Oh my gosh, it's an unbelievable view. You know, I'm so blessed to be in the position I am, to be the first person in the world to be right here, and the only person in the world that will ever be right here. This is truly breathtaking.
It's astounding that you seem to actually be enjoying this experience, Nick.
You know what, I am. Gosh, a long time in the making. This is what dreams are made of, people. Pursue your dreams. Never give up. Mine might seem strange, but anybody that's dealing with any battle.
Which is bigger, walk across Niagara or Grand Canyon?
Achieve your dreams and beat any battle with anything.
Yeah, I would like to see this.
Above Niagara Falls. Incredible to believe. Nick, very quickly, as you enter the wet zone, family so important to you, so much a part of this night. And I know that you have something of your mother's, your homemade shoes that actually are going to help you maybe grip that wire a little tighter with that homemade elk skin on the bottom of those moccasins.
That's correct. These shoes are made by my mother, and it means so much to me to have a piece of my family alongside with me. You know, family is important to me. My beautiful wife, my 3 beautiful children. To have a family that supports me, even when I have crazy ideas like this.
And Nick, you mentioned the concern about the movement of the wire. How is that right now?
Feels pretty good right now. You know, one of the challenges I'm having right now is visually, because everything is moving so quickly underneath me, I can't see the wire move, which actually becomes a challenge because I can't prepare for it as it moves. But so far, so good.
Nick, we're going to leave you to it, and we thank you for letting us join you for a tiny portion of your travels.
Thank you, guys.
Well, how do you like that poise and composure as he does what no one ever has, as he attempts this feat that no one ever would? He seems so unnaturally calm.
And yet, trouble looms as he arrives to the wet zone. And this was where that microclimate of Niagara can wreak such potential havoc on this walk. You can see the blinding mist kicked up from that water, 700,000 gallons per second, cascading 20 stories down. The effects on his visibility, on his grip on that wire, unknowable until he is out there alone. A man, a wire, and a balancing pole.
He is about a third of the way, almost a third of the way to his goal of arriving in Canada, becoming the first man to ever walk over Niagara Falls. And again, the wettest area here, it actually changed 3 times by the time he's finished with this walk. You can just see the water is dripping off of that wire.
Thank you, Jesus, my righteous King. Praise you, Father God. Praise you, Jesus.
Look at that water. Going off of it. You don't understand what you guys do.
Can
You
you hear me okay with the
power
roar
across
again?
Niagara.
Yeah, I hear you fine. All right, good. I want to make sure you're able to hear me.
It's crazy, but
Every step is looking good, Nick. I mean, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Jesus.
Really doing a great
See that
job.
little bug down there?
Only
You
thing
get right
I'm happy
up,
about is that
take
head
you right up.
hung the weather
you
station.
know, it's so good.
Yeah,
Every once
You
in a
know, it's
while,
moving a lot. Catching wind.
close,
yeah, it's catching a little more wind, but
you know, people's
you're going to get past that
bug
reasonably
down
soon. So
Hey, Mom,
you're doing great.
you need to go get
Nice,
fed.
calm steps.
Huh?
Everything's looking good.
Oh, that's right.
Nick talking with his discussing the weather conditions and how Nick is making his way through them. Let's go down to our weatherman, Sam Champion. Sam, what is Nick facing at this moment?
Hey, Josh, right as they had that conversation, we picked up a 14-mile-per-hour wind gust just ahead of Nick on the wire. And the real problem here might not be the speed of the gust, because if you're looking at it, you can see that mist is driving and hits him constantly on the left side of his body. That would be fine. He could get used to that, but it's swirling. It goes from southeast to south to southwest, and then it kind of goes around even over his head. So it's not only going in the compass direction, but it's kind of wrapping around it all the way over and under him as well, and that's the concern. That's what he was talking about, picking up a little bit of gust there. Also, it is just so wet. Josh, we've been looking at this now for 2 days. Have you ever seen it this wet?
Sam, I have not, and you're right. We've been locked onto this for 2 days. About 13 minutes now into his walk, as we take a look at just how far he's gone and yet how far he still has to go. And you can see just how alone he is in the middle of that madness. And yet, something he has trained his entire life for. One of the longest walks in his career, to be sure. Let's review. He did this by walking on a wire. In fact, twice as long as this, almost 3,000 feet in length, to make sure he'd have the endurance to do this. And as we showed you before, he did it with that fire hose pounding away at him, and a wind machine blowing 55-mile-an-hour gusts.
But there's no way, Josh, that any amount of preparation could simulate what he finds here. And the one thing that he did learn from all of that practice that you just detailed was that he was uncomfortable with the fact that, and as you look at that mist and you can visibly see the wind because of the mist and because of the lights that we have along his path, he said that he thought might be disconcerting to him mentally, and that might be distracting. He's used to feeling the wind and dealing with the wind, but not actually seeing it as he is tonight.
And to that point, this is certainly a feat of endurance, of strength, but as we bring in Bill back in the United States, Bill, this is a man of singular mental fortitude.
Boy, is he ever. You've got a sense of that talking to him, right? You know, he reaches the bottom of the valley now. He's going to start the arduous climb up. Something to watch for. It is Walenda tradition for him to stop in the middle, pull out his cell phone, and call his wife, Edawgmc, who is now on the Canadian side with their kids waiting, hopefully, for his arrival. But his kid said, you know what, Daddy, you don't have to call this time. Why don't you just get over it? And you can understand their concern when you see what looks like tropical storm conditions. His daughter also wanted him to wear her Hello Kitty sunglasses as a good luck charm. He said, sweetie, it's at night, I don't need them. But you can't really appreciate until you get up here and actually touch this wire, feel the way it moves and sways with every step. It's like waves in a swimming pool. Every step sends a shockwave to the end and then comes back. He's very deliberate. And his best friend, Chris Rippo, who's up here holding on to the wire, he's got guys at either time. If this is a test of a true friend, Chris hates heights. He hates looking at this, yet he's doing this for Nick.
You know, Nick, what I wanted to let you know was it was 40 years ago when your great-grandfather walked to Lula Gorge. I think that's pretty amazing that you're doing it 40 years later.
God is good. What an amazing opportunity. What a blessing. Oh, God.
Okay, coming up on another pendulum here.
How I praise you, Jesus.
Take your time there. Good. Okay, good.
Oh, Lord, you're my Savior, you're my King, you're my Jesus, you're my
How's
teacher, my wisdom, my
how's the
guide.
water on your feet, Nick?
Praise you, Jesus. It's good.
All right.
Really, really wet.
Yeah, of course it is. Like being in the
my father.
How's that harness? It's not cutting off any circulation, is it?
No.
All right, great.
Just feel like a jackass wearing it.
No. No, it still looks awesome.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, my father. Is my family over there?
And as we listen in on Nick Wallenda talking so calmly with his father Terry, who's in our production trailer, this is what he faces now. This is what we're calling the climb just out of the valley. It may be a little bit more stable. You saw that wire shaking, a little bit less likely to be affected by that microclimate, perhaps a chance to take a bit of a breath. Nick hoping that this section of the walk at least gives him a mental break, a little calm to gear up for the end. He's done that tricky downhill walk at the beginning, the wet zone, so dramatic, and in the valley, and told us, Josh, he actually likes going uphill. It's sort of like walking upstairs. You can actually see what's in front of you. It's easier to see the wire and center yourself. So, and maybe preserve himself, because what he faces ahead is even tougher than this.
He must have reserves that he has built again over years of training for this. And I do want to set the scene. Just hear the Canadian side. We heard the whoops and the hollers, tens and tens of thousands of people waiting for him to finish the walk. And it has gone absolutely silent over here. I can only imagine that scene being repeated in millions of homes around the globe as we all sit and watch in utter and complete awe. Awe. Say awe. That's a lot of water.
Not
What's that look?
that's like the safety harness thing.
Well, that ain't no thing. You're supposed to not have no safety stuff.
But like if he's completely like down, he'll drop.
Allow us to welcome Nick Wallenda to Canada as he crosses over the border again, some 60% of the way or so through his walk. As he makes his way uphill, he'll be doing so in Canadian airspace. And for those of you wondering, especially on social media, Twitter and Facebook, yes, Nick Wallenda, in addition to that 40-pound bouncing pole, is also traveling with his passport.
As we want to check in with his father now, Terry and Hannah and Josh, it would now be a good time to check in with Nick.
You know, I think Nick's ready to answer a couple more questions.
Okay. Nick, tell us what has been most challenging for you thus far.
You know, that mist was thick, and it was hard to see at times. It's been a challenge, and it's all been visual more than anything. You know, it's so important, as in the earlier piece, that my vision, and I'm able to see and able to focus. And it was very hard to focus. There was so much moving around me. Wind going one way, mist going another. It wasn't pretty, that's for sure. Very uncomfortable for a while. And that mist was, that wind was wild. You know, I'd heard all the stories, but to actually feel it, you know, it would come at me one way and then hit me from the front and then hit me from the back, and it was definitely quite a challenge, and you know, nothing that I wasn't prepared for, but more than I expected, that's for sure.
Nick, if this was a race, and make no mistake, it most certainly is not, but you'd be rounding that turn and making your way home. As you do that, I wonder, we've said, and it was all postulating, all theory, but that you did enjoy walking uphill as opposed to other parts of this walk. How is it as you make your way up to terra firma?
You know, I'm strained. I'm drained. You know, this is so physical, not only mental but physical. And point feel like they're going numb. I feel like I'm getting weak. And, I'm just looking at that prize on the other side. And, that anticipation is building. And I just want to get in there. I want to get through that home stretch and hit that finish line.
And Nick, what is it that will carry you to that finish line?
Pure endurance. Endurance and this audience that's here that I'm hearing at this point. I'm just starting to hear them, believe it or not. Those falls are so loud that until now I haven't been able to hear them. But I'm hearing them, and that's what will get me across to the other side.
And apparently they are hearing you as well.
What's up, Dad?
You're doing fine. Just
We have entered the last steps, but we have come to know it's the final test. And this is where the training, the conditioning will pay off. We heard Nick himself just say he is drained. And who could blame him? Remember, he's been on the wire now for almost 45 minutes, but I can only imagine the adrenaline now will take him those final steps. As he kneels, he drops to a knee and smiles and points to the crowd, acknowledging them, exhorting them home. Again, emotionally and physically, what a struggle it might have been, but now, steps from home, steps from the loving embrace of his family, and steps from history.
Sam Champion has a bird's eye view of it all. Sam, what do you see?
I'll tell you, we're standing here on the platform, Hannah, as he is just making his final way, inching over. I'm here with his beautiful family. His uncle Mike is holding the guide wire as he approaches the scissor lift. This is apparently a tradition, and you can see he's getting this smile on his face as he gets closer. That seeing Uncle Mike holding the tension on that wire lets him know that he's home. He's almost home. We have officials from Canada on the platform here who will be here to greet him. He will make his first connection with them, as is law. And he will kiss and hug home his beautiful family in just moments.
He has entered his 26th minute of the walk. Sprinting to the finish. And he breaks the tape. Nick
Yes.
walking his way into history. I hope you will it's not something you will see many times soon. Nick Walenda walking some 1,500 feet, becoming the first person to traverse Niagara Falls directly over the falls themselves, hugging his uncle and acknowledging the crowd, blowing kisses before beginning the process of processing himself.
A hug for his Uncle Mike, the NASA engineer who helped design and build the wire, was so instrumental in getting his precious family member safely across. And a feat that, frankly, Nick Walenda made look so easy, but we know all too well it was not easy.
Everything paying off. Now, Sam, who are you standing there with?
I have got a beautiful young lady here who might have something to say. Do you have something to say to her?
I love him and I'm so very proud of him. So happy that this is over.
You looked so calm when you were standing there watching it, but what were you feeling?
There's